Bad sleep is ruining your mental health, and most men don't even realize it. My name is Lucas. I'm a psychology and philosophy student, and my goal with this YouTube channel is to help you improve your mental health through science-based habits and philosophy. 3 years ago, I was going to sleep at 6 a.m. Not p.m., a.m. Most people were getting up, being productive, studying, working on a business, and I was going to sleep. And this, in turn, ruined my energy levels, my motivation, my health, and most importantly, it got me into depression and anxiety. Fixing my sleep became the foundation to fixing every other area of my life. And today, I'm going to teach you how to do the same step by step. First of all, let's see what harm poor sleep does. First, poor sleep increases intrusive thoughts. So back at this time, like 3-4 years ago, I used to have so many intrusive thoughts all the time about everything, about my family, about my girlfriend, about the world. I used to stay up because I was anxious, getting intrusive thoughts that a fucking meteorite would hit the earth. It was at this level where I was like watching Instagram and I saw a little conflict between two countries and I was like, no, it's the Third World War. But like, there wasn't any rationality behind it. I was just scared. And every time my family would leave and they would take like a few extra minutes to get home, I would be worried maybe something happened to them. Same thing with my girlfriend. And what's the science behind this? Basically, poor sleep, meaning basically for this, what really matters is your REM sleep. So REM sleep is basically the phase where you're dreaming. It's called rapid eye movement. So it's when you actually dream. And having poor REM sleep, and a small amount of it, actually reduces the activity of your prefrontal cortex. So it's not the entire It's not the entirety of the prefrontal cortex. It's the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. But this area is basically responsible for your rationality, for your emotional regulation, and most importantly, for thought suppression. So they did a study where they got two groups and they showed them a few pictures that had another picture tied to it. So maybe it was a picture of a woman with a red circle around her, and then it was a picture of a house. Then a picture of a man with a green circle around him, and a picture of a car. Then they let some participants sleep well, and another one was sleep deprived. The next day, they showed them the picture of the woman with a red circle, and they told them to remember the other image, which was a house. But then when they showed the image of the man with the green circle around him, they told him to not think about the image that was tied to it. And the group who slept well had better capacity to suppress the memory, to suppress the thought. And in real life, this could be when you randomly start getting memories and flashes of past moments that were, bad, that you are ashamed of. And you can't repress these thoughts because you're not sleeping correctly. Another point is that poor sleep ruins your reward circuitry, your reward system in your brain, your dopamine system. So you can guess that at that time when I was sleeping very late and I wasn't sleeping properly, I was also into addictions. And I was addicted to a bunch of things. So I was addicted to video games. I was addicted to scrolling in social media. I was addicted to porn. I was addicted to food. So what happens in your brain is that poor sleep actually reduces the amount and the sensitivity of dopamine receptors. So basically dopamine binds to receptors in your brain And that gives you the feeling of pleasure and motivation. But the thing is, by sleeping poorly, you don't have as many receptors, and the ones you have are less sensitive. So you basically don't feel as much pleasure. You don't feel as much motivation to do things. And another thing that is very, very interesting in a study is that they found out that people who slept poorly couldn't predict the reward correctly. So in a person that was sleeping correctly, so they showed them a few activities and they had to predict the reward they thought they would get from it. So there was, for example, I'm not sure which one there was, but maybe going for a run, then eating a healthy, nutritious food, or eating junk food, or, staying home and masturbating. And they had to predict the reward they would get from each activity. And they predicted it well. They did well in the predictions. But the group that didn't sleep properly didn't. They predicted everything at around the same. The difference between the prediction of, very high reward and very low reward was very low. So at this point, when you have a choice between eating the junk food and eating the healthy food, for you, the reward seems almost the same. And everything in life seems almost the same. You don't have more motivation to do something or less. So either you're not motivated to anything, or you're extremely motivated to everything. There is no difference. And this is extremely dangerous in terms of addictions. And sleep is foundational to quit addictions. You can do all the things that, so you reduce the addiction, you try to do other healthy things, replace the addictions, But if you don't fix your sleep, it's an uphill battle. And that's why sleep is so important. Thirdly, sleep also ruins your focus and your attention. Basically, poor sleep will give you ADHD symptoms. Basically, we have a structure in our brain called the thalamus. And what it does is that it takes information from, the perceptions we have. So with touch, with, sight. When you hear something, when you see something, when you taste something, and you touch something, these perceptions basically go to the thalamus. And it's the thalamus that will say, okay, this is important, send it up to the according regions of the brain, or no, this isn't important. That's why we have selective attention. Right now, you're paying attention to this video, you're not paying attention to the sensation of the clothes in your body, to the feeling of your tongue in your mouth, to your eyelids closing and opening, to stuff in your peripheral vision. You have focused attention because the thalamus is doing its job well. But in people with poor sleep, the thalamus doesn't. And so, stuff that shouldn't pass do. And so we're trying to pay attention to a video, to a lecture, to a book, and then randomly, you get a thought. Randomly, you pay attention to the sound, to the smell, to this feeling. You're paying attention to something, then you look because you saw something moving, and you start paying attention, and you lose yourself. And these are ADHD symptoms. A lot of people think they have ADHD, but they just have shit sleep. That's huge. Like really, really huge. And sleep is so important. I made a whole module about it in my full mental health course. So if you'd like more information on how to improve your mental health, you can check out the link in the description. I'm so proud of this course, and I really think it will help you. And now that I've told you basically all the bad things that happen, let me tell you how to actually improve your sleep, to improve your life. The thing is, okay, sleep is basically a foundational habit. Because when you improve sleep, you improve basically everything else. So I made a video, a complete mental health guide that you can watch later. And in it, I basically show the process on how to improve your mental health. So starting with a few foundational habits and then starting to do them more. And what I showed in this, which is important for this video, is that sleep is one of those habits that if you improve, every single other area of life improves. Okay, so let's say we divide life by health, wealth, and relationships. So sleep isn't the health part. It's a very specific thing in health, because in health we have hormones, exercise, we have muscle, we have fat, we have basically everything else, cardiovascular abilities, and improving one of them is good. But by improving your sleep, you also improve hormones. Okay, you improve your muscle growth, you improve your fat loss, you improve your cardiovascular activities, you improve basically everything in health and mental health as well. But by improving sleep, which is in health, you also increase your productivity. You increase your mental capacity, which also improves then your wealth, block. And by sleeping better, you also get better relationships because you're more present. You're here in the moment. And poor sleep actually also fucks up something in your brain where you just kind of see danger everywhere. You're just more alert and you can't, you're more irritable, and your social relationships will suffer from this. So improving your sleep literally improves every other area of life. In the fast lane of achieving happiness, right? So the happiness fast lane, sleep is like the engine of the car you're in. It's this essential habit that if you fix, every other area of your life will improve. And here's how to do it. So first of all, we have in our body a internal clock called the circadian rhythm. Basically, it's a few hormones that will spike at certain times and go down at other times that make you basically wake up and go to sleep. Now, this internal clock actually takes 24 hours and 30 minutes. So if you leave someone without any form of light and any form of way of knowing what time it is, they'll slowly start sleeping later and waking up later. Up to one time, they'll be sleeping at like 3 p.m. and waking up at 3 a.m., something like this. So we need a few keys to actually regulate our internal clock. And what are these keys? And the most important one, and if you only take one thing, is light. Light will spike cortisol, which is basically telling you, okay, it's time to wake up. If you think of our ancestors, how did they know it was day? Because the sun was going up. And how did they know it was night? Because there wasn't any sun anymore. There wasn't any light, only the fire, they said. So if you want to fix your circadian rhythm, what you have to do is in the first few minutes of you waking up, go out, open a window and stare into the sky and get natural light into your eyes. This will tell your body, okay, I woke up. And then it will start a timer and it starts ticking until night, which is basically the time where you're going to sleep. And at that time, you want to do the opposite. You want to reduce light. You want warm lights. So I have here this little light that I leave on at night. I put in the red setting, so it's really, really warm. Basically, want to imitate a fire or something like this that we had back in the day. Not a white, ceiling light that just basically imitates the sun. You can't sleep if you have this during the night. So for your circadian rhythm, light is the key. Get natural light in the morning and reduce artificial light late at night. The second point is sleep pressure. What is sleep pressure? So basically, if you remember your biology class, our body functions with energy. So the energy is the ATP cell, which is the adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so our cells will produce this energy and we'll use it throughout the day. And as we use it, basically we're like using the phosphates in this molecule up to a point where you only have a triphosphate, an adenosine monophosphate, which is basically an adenosine molecule. And what's special about this adenosine molecule is that it will bind to a few receptors. And by doing so, you'll start to feel tired. So throughout the day, you start building more and more of these adenosine molecules that are binding to the receptors, and you start to feel more and more tired. This is sleep pressure. It's basically your body pressuring you to go to sleep. And why is it important? Because there are a few things that actually don't let this happen. For example, caffeine. Caffeine will bind to the receptor before the adenosine molecule, and so you won't feel tired. This is why it is imperative you limit caffeine to like 3 p.m. I'd say even before. I personally don't get any caffeine in after 1 p.m. because it will stay in your body. Caffeine's half-life is like 6 or 8 hours, and I don't remember right now. So try to limit caffeine to the mornings or the very early afternoon, no more past 3 p.m. And the final tip I'm going to give you, which I think is basically one of the most important ones, it's sleeping and waking up at a consistent schedule. You see, I haven't told you to sleep more because we all know this, right? I'm not going to just say the same thing over and over again. But sleeping at a consistent time and waking up at a consistent time as well is so important, because you are not only training your circadian rhythm, you're training your body. So every night, at the same time you feel tired, and every day at the same time you wake up, and your body naturally will start to produce the cortisol, which will help you wake up. So I know sometimes myself, I used to think, okay, if I don't have anything tomorrow, I'm going to wake up extra early. So if I can sleep earlier and wake up earlier, I'm going to do it because I want to work, I want to study, I want to be productive in the morning. So basically, if I had a day where I could go to sleep at like 7, 8, I would, to wake up at like 5 and study a lot. But this is actually hurting your sleep. What you should do is take a specific time to go to sleep and wake up. You can do consistently throughout the week and set it as your basic and follow it as best as you can. This will be huge to improve your sleep and improve your sleep quality mainly. So, for example, right now I'm going to sleep every day at 9 p.m. and waking up at 6:30 a.m. So I allocate 9 hours and 30 minutes to bed. You should probably allocate 9 hours, 10 hours to bed if possible, because we have something called sleep efficiency. So the time you're in bed isn't the time you're sleeping, right? I have like an 86% sleep efficiency. So meaning I stay, let's say 8 hours and 40 minutes in bed. I sleep like 7 hours and 30 minutes. So I lose like a good hour of the time. So if we want to sleep like 7 to 8 hours, it's good to have 9 to 10 hours of time allocated to bed. And then you just figure it out with your schedule. For me, I can do this from 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. I would like to actually do it earlier, so go to sleep earlier, so like at 8 p.m. and wake up at 5 a.m. But my schedule doesn't allow it, and then it's fine. Don't have days where you break the schedule, because you basically got a mini jet lag for the next few days. If you wake up later one day, then it's going to be harder to go to sleep, and then it's going to be harder to, and everything just basically falls down. If you have to sleep later one day, still wake up early. It's actually better to have less sleep in one night, but then keep your schedule for the others, than actually, sleep for 10 hours one day, but then you can't sleep the other and just basically ruin everything, okay? So this is how you improve your sleep. I really hope I've helped you, and I'll see you next week.